Welcome, Gaia. I am so excited to have you here at the Uplevel World Summit. When Gaia agreed to join us for the Uplevel World Summit, I knew that in itself up-leveled who we had as speakers. Gaia and I have known each other, I think, for about 2 years, and we worked together as students under the same mentor. And I was always impressed by her level of compassion and her sight, her insight that she can see things, she can look at people and see things that other people just don't see. And so Gaia is really going to let us in a little bit on her modalities today. She's going to tell us a little bit about her background, and then she is going to be walking us through a process that's going to help heal our, would it be our mindset on finances, on money and abundance?
No, I wouldn't say it's the mindset. I would say it'll make you discover something about your blockages that you maybe didn't know. But I don't want to start here because I'll see when I talk to you what I will choose in the moment what's appropriate.
Okay, so welcome, Gaia. Would you mind telling us a little bit about what brought you here today?
Thank you so much for this invitation, Courtney. I'm so happy to be here with you. It's true, when we started out 2 years ago, I would never have thought that we would end up in a summit that you're hosting. So fabulous. So yeah, that's what brought me here, was your invitation and just my wish to bring out my message to as many people as possible, because I've been through a ton of things in my life and I overcame a ton of things. Of course, I'm still on a journey like everyone, but it made me realize some foundational understanding to what we all go through and what we all can go through. And I made it my work.
Gaia, can you tell us a little bit about your background and what's brought you to where you're a healer and a coach today?
Yeah, actually, where do I start? Let's say there was a time in my life when I was an very insecure person, very looking for love and approval and acknowledgement, all these things. And at some point, this kind of, I call it dependency on others, brought me into big trouble, not only once, but the worst moment, I would say, was when one of my best friends, who I'd known for more than 10 years, and she was my business partner, she completely ruined me. She took the money, she ran, and I was left behind being the CEO of the company, having my personal money in it. I lost everything I had. I ended up having to accept state welfare to get enough food for my child and me, and it was a terrible time. And it took me nearly 20 years to get out of all the consequences of this. But at the same time, in the beginning, I did what I had learned and what I had always done, means I went to get a job and I worked harder and harder and harder, because that was my paradigm from childhood. It has to be hard.
Right.
So I was struggling. And then, like, the universe had other plans for me, but I wasn't ready to listen. So these jobs didn't go very well. And I was feeling like this is not right, but I thought I had no choice, I had to provide for my family, and I didn't see any way out of this, even though I had a partner. But it was all like my responsibility. There was a lot of guilt about all of this because, I messed up. So I wasn't worthy of having a good life afterwards, because I should have seen this coming, that this friend would betray me like this. Of course, that's all the limiting beliefs I had in that time. So finally, the universe thought, we have to stop this. And it took really a police raid to get me to lose my last job 5 days before Christmas, 1996. So that was really the point where I was at my lowest. I had no job, I had no money, I had no future, I had no idea how this all would go on. And during Christmas, you cannot look for a new job. Nobody, not in my field, in accountancy and finances and all that. No chance. So I had a few weeks to really understand I have to change something in my life. Mm-hmm. Even if I do not know what, but I have to change. So then I even became suicidal at some point. I didn't see what to do and where to go and who to ask and where to find help. But somehow something stopped me. I was really literally standing on a building, looking down, ready to jump more than once, but something stopped me. And years later, when I did the work that I do today with clients, I saw in a special process, I saw my older self, my now self, stepping up and holding the hand of my younger self and telling her that it all turned out well. And I know that was what at that time stopped me, because time is an illusion, right?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
So, and from there, it went forward. And I decided I wanted to become a healer. I wanted to, because I went for professional help, of course. So I did a lot of alternative therapies, alternative medicine, and I was feeling better and stronger and seeing what I wanted clearer. And I wanted to help others. So I started studying all this. And still I wanted a lot of approval. And my then partner, he didn't want me to change. You know, people around you often don't want you to change.
Yeah.
And even at some point, I was like, for months, I was saying, yeah, I would love to do this. What do you think about it? And he would always say, I don't think it's a good idea.
Okay.
And like after 6 months of me asking for his approval or permission and him refusing it, at some point he said, you're too old. You cannot turn your life around at 35. What do you think? Who do you think you are?
Oh my gosh.
And I think I needed that wake-up call, because the next day I went and I registered into medical school.
Well, fantastic on you. That's amazing that you took what he was saying and you used it as fuel rather than letting him hold you down.
Yeah, but I had believed it for so long, but somehow I found that point. And then it started. I went to medical school for 3 years. And I studied a lot of alternative medicine methods, like homeopathy, for instance. And I started working with people, and I started helping people. And at the same time, I went on learning more skills. So plant-based nutrition therapy, modern acupuncture, and it helped me to help people.
So I want to pause you right there just for a minute. I was jotting down, as you were speaking in the beginning, I was jotting down the limiting beliefs that I was hearing come from you. And I want to make sure that I underscore those, because I know there are people right now watching who have these same beliefs, and they may not realize that these are limiting beliefs that are programmed into them. So just to reiterate, you said it has to be hard, right? No matter what, it has to be hard. And then you said, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy of making a change. I'm not worthy of the difference. You said I messed up. So that whole idea of it's my fault. I did this to myself.
The guilt.
Then you also said there's no way out.
Yes.
And I think it's so important just to bullet point those, because I know there are people right now with those same exact thoughts. And what you're showing us is that there is a way out, that there is a way through that. And that one moment where your partner said, no, you can't, but you made the decision to say, yes, I can. That was your turnaround point.
Yes, and it was not a conscious decision. It was my inner rebel standing up. You know, all of this was not conscious. It's so important. And that's my whole work, my whole teaching, if I teach, when I teach, it goes around that, that when and I connected to the chakras as a developmental system. So, you know, we have 7 principal chakras, right?
Yeah.
But when we're born, we have only one. That's the root chakra.
Right.
All the others develop later.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever happens to you in the first 2 years of your life, and whatever you learn during the first 2 years of your life, is kind of stored in the root chakra. And when you have issues of trust, or if you have people around you who have those issues, children observe, they read us, they read our body language, they read our tone of voice, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they learn.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we arrive here, first weeks and months, we still have to do the work to get inside of our body. And
Right.
how many people have already had traumatic events at that age, so they never arrived into their body? Yeah, you get me?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Right as soon as you said that, I went, oh my gosh, I know so many people who had trauma within the first 2 weeks of their life.
Yes.
And
most of them don't know it. So
right.
What is very important is when I talk about trauma, I'm not talking about the big things. Like
right.
Recently somebody said to me, but I had a happy childhood. There was never something bad that happened to me.
Yeah.
And it's so important to understand that trauma, what I'm talking about, is more the micro trauma. Mm-hmm. The little things that you forget, you don't know, right? You're not conscious of it. This is why I call it blind spots. So you may have lived things in the first 2 or even in the first 7 years of your life that kind of trained you to believe certain things. And some of them are so painful that you create a survival strategy around them.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yes.
And as it is so early, you come to believe that this is you, that this is your personality. But personality is a word that comes from the Greek persona, and that means mask. So your personality is the first mask that you build to the outside.
Whoa.
But the true you,
as you're speaking.
but the true you is behind that. This is why I love to ask people, often enough, I ask, if all your troubles would disappear, mm-hmm. who would you be?
That's a deep question. That's a deep question, because it is who we become, who we are, because of mostly, more importantly, the traumas that we go through, or the pain that we go through, yes. that creates the who we are now. And so exactly. Whether it's somebody who's suffering from trauma, so if you're in a moment of you're in alignment with your suffering, or you're in alignment with your healing, either way, they both stem from your trauma.
Yes.
So who are you if you don't have your trauma?
Yes. Exactly. And that's it's a question that doesn't have really an answer until you get there.
Right.
And then it loses importance. But it's a good way of understanding that often we think, oh, that's how things are. That is how life is. And we think that there are no alternatives. So, yeah, this is, as I say, from day one, even maybe during pregnancy, this process starts, but definitely from day one in your life, in your family, you learn all the paradigms around you, and you internalize them so much that they become unquestionable truth. Means this is how things have to be. Mm-hmm. And when somebody questions that, that's a good way to see it, to understand. When somebody questions something that you firmly believe, and you get aggressive and you start with justification and discussing with the person that you are right and she's wrong, there is a blockage. There is a limiting belief behind, or there is maybe a family rule behind, Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what a great, I've never thought of it that way before. But of course now, I've got so many examples flooding into my head. But when you become aggressively justifying something or defending something, that is showing you having a block somewhere.
Yeah, or you have a strategy there. You need that to be like this, because if it was not, that would be so painful.
Right. It's a defense mechanism.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. All right. I love it. So then what do we do?
Well, that's the second part of my story, if you want to, where you stopped me in my tracks, was that I was saying there is so many healing methods, but there is also so much resistance. You can give people so much information about themselves and their patterns, but when you touch those painful parts, resistance builds up. And we cannot go beyond that then. Often we cannot, or it becomes a very painful process.
Right.
So the method I learned that ended this completely was tapping, EFT.
Okay.
And I combined the tapping with other techniques like visualization and other stuff that I've learned. And what it does, it helps you to recondition your brain. Means it helps you to stop the traumatic response, to understand where the pain came from. Very often it liberates memories that were not there before, especially from very, very young age. I remember people telling me what happened when they were babies, crying for mom, and mom wouldn't come, and they were hungry, and they didn't understand why she was not there, and she wouldn't come. You know, that creates a trauma, but you have no conscious access to that trauma.
Sure.
But with tapping and the other processes, sometimes it comes to the surface, and then we clear it, and it's gone.
Okay,
and you're changed.
Now, I had shared with you, I have a pretty strong history of tapping myself, but I know that there are people watching who probably just heard you say tapping and either went, what is that? Or, yeah, right, I've heard of it, I've seen it, and there's no way that that works. So could you explain a little bit more about what EFT is and then maybe speak to those skeptics?
Well, to the skeptics, first of all, there is a ton of scientific double-blind study evidence that this works. And it is, to me, it is very clear that it works because it is, I call it emotional acupuncture, because
That's a great way to put it.
EFT is emotional freedom technique, and we are using acupuncture points, and we tap with our fingers on them, like next to the eye, for instance, is a point. And of course, it does the same thing as if I would put a needle there. And then we combine it with other techniques, like repeating certain sentences, saying certain things, you know, and there's so much brain research around this. Hearing your own voice saying something to yourself is so powerful. That's a part of the tapping that makes it work.
Okay.
And of course, it depends very much on how deep you want to go, because you can, as with any tool, you can stay superficial, you can stop too early, you can avoid going really to the pain points, or you can go deep. That's the difference.
Okay. And just to interject there too, so Gaia is originally from Germany, but lives in Spain now, correct?
Yes, correct.
In the US military has done one of the largest studies on tapping, and they were using it specifically on soldiers with PTSD with phenomenal results. So, you know, again, to those skeptics, look up US military study on EFT, and you will find a ton of research that conclusively showed how EFT absolutely helped our soldiers with PTSD. So just wanted to add that resource in there.
Yes, that's so important. I've read that study. It's fantastic.
It is, yeah.
And it just confirms what we have heard from all over the globe, all kinds of people, all walks and talks. It works. And you know, if you're skeptic, I was too. When I heard the first time of this, that was a friend of mine. I was actually, that was about my financial life, because my life got so good, but I got once more betrayed for money, and another time betrayed for money. And I was talking to her like, whatever I do, I never get above a certain level of money. And if I do, something happens and it's taken away from me.
Mhm.
And she was the first person who said to me, you have a blockage there. And she did a kinesiologic test with me, which is another woo-woo thing for the skeptics. Like you have the arm and you press on the arm, and if your energy is strong, you can hold it. And if you say a lie or something that's not true, you lose all the strength and the arm goes down.
Right.
So she made me say the sentence, I deserve to live a good life. And my arm went boom.
Wow.
And that was years after that first huge betrayal, I
Mhm.
still had the belief inside that I didn't deserve a better life, that I did deserve to struggle and to have it and to make it hard. And
Mhm.
I mean, I was working with people, I was healing them, I was doing my dream job, but still the financial side wouldn't work. And then she started to show me the tapping. And I started to do it regularly because it's a practice. It's not a wonder. It's not a miracle,
Sure.
You have to do something for it.
Yeah.
And then little by little, it got better.
So, and I guess it does depend too on how deeply ingrained that belief is.
Yes.
My first experience with tapping, it was a one and done, but it wasn't a belief that was deeply ingrained. It was a problem that I was having with a coworker. And so I did the tapping one time with that situation. And when I saw her months later for the first time after it, it was as if nothing had ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, I do the power of tapping is phenomenal, but depending on how deep the belief is, I think decides, right, how much tapping you need to do on it.
Yes, I like to differentiate not how deep the belief is, but is it an acute situation or is it a chronic situation?
Okay.
If you're in acute stress, you don't know anything about tapping. It doesn't matter. You just go through the points and you say like, I'm so stressed. All this fear. I feel terribly stressed. Mm-hmm. And within 3 minutes, your stress will be way, way lower than before. Okay. And you can just do it until your stress is low. I mean, you know that we rate always our stress level from 0 to 10. 0 means as cool as Buddha, and 10 means freaking out and panicking. So when you're at 9 or 10, freaking out because of a situation, and you start tapping without great knowledge, just acknowledging what is bothering you right now and doing a few rounds through the points will bring your stress level down to 2 or 3.
Okay.
Almost always. And if it's not in 3 rounds, then it's in 7 or 8 rounds, but it does it always. Okay. It works. But when we talk about beliefs and trauma that come from times where you have no conscious memory, where you have no conscious access to, that's you need a bit more time to build the trust in your own system, to open up to seeing this, to facing this. Because we have this survival system that always wants to protect us. Sure. And as soon as we put a foot out of our comfort zone, it says, oh, no, don't go there. That's dangerous. Right. So you have to calm that nervous, that survival system. You have to calm it down first, and then you can access the deeper seated topics.
Okay. Okay. So how does this relate to your ideas of finances?
Well, because everything that's related to money and finances is related to the root chakra. Okay. Because it is our survival. We need money to survive. We have to pay the rent, we have to buy food, and we just need this. So when we're really in lack of money, and I know how that feels, your survival system is up there like, oh my gosh, how am I going to make this? What if I never get any money anymore? You can't, and the interesting thing is, when your survival system is activated like this, the frontal lobes of your brain, where the reasonable thinking sits, they're shut down.
Right.
Because when you're facing a tiger,
Mhm.
you don't have to think, oh, is this a tiger? Maybe he's vegetarian. Should I really run away? No, that's shut down because it's run, jump on a tree, or freeze.
Right.
Or if you have a gun, shoot him,
Right.
And you're not meant to have all these thoughts. So it's really your brain is shut down when you are in a high stress level.
Okay.
This is why it is so important to first lower that and then go to the rest of the work.
Okay. All right. So then when you're working with people, is your first round always on reducing stress, or, does it depend on the person?
It depends on the person. It depends what they come with.
Okay.
And and sometimes when we start working on a topic, the stress goes up for some reason because a memory comes up or something comes up. And it's very much in my one-on-one work, I really go with you, with your topics, having the idea of the developmental system of the chakras and the age and all this. I have it in mind, but it's not important. You don't have to know anything about this. It just helps me to understand when you tell me, oh, this is my blockage or this is my fear. I can get an idea of where it comes from, which age it comes from, and I can help you look there,
Yeah.
But to answer your question about the finances, so all the finances are linked to the first chakra, to the survival system. And this is why I love working about it, because it brings up, even when you talk about money, it will bring up all your beliefs.
Right.
Even if they are not directly related to money.
Right. Which typically, just like you had said, it has to be hard. There's no way out. I'm not worthy. It's my fault. Those aren't necessarily related to money, but if those are your deep-seated beliefs, that's how you're reacting. Is that true?
Yes, that's true. And a lot of things, even transgenerational trauma can be linked to that. So in my story, it's like I've learned from my parents that it's always hard, because my parents lived through the Second World War and had this time when there was nothing, and they were so deeply in survival system. I learned so much about this, and they always worked hard because they had this belief system and they gave it to me, So my answer to whatever happened in my life was always, okay, I just have to work harder and then I'll solve that. I didn't. It brought me twice into burnout until I learned that this is not the solution to all my problems,
Right. Yeah.
But it came from my parents and I just learned it. I never questioned it. I wasn't even aware that I was thinking that.
And that's why I love what you said about the micro traumas, because this came from your parents, not in a malicious way, right?
No.
This is what they learned. This is what they believe. This is how they survived. This was their survival mechanism that they passed down to you, thinking that they were doing, and they were doing the best with what they knew.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So I always think that it's important to highlight that, because I know I've had clients who really resist the thought of, well, my parents were just doing the best they could. So, I don't want to blame them. Well, it's not blame, right? We're simply recognizing. And to me, it's compassion. You're reaching out and having compassion.
Yes.
For those generations before us.
And the more you understand that we all have these belief systems, the more it becomes clear that the generation of our parents, or for some of your viewers, of your grandparents, they didn't have a chance like we have today to sit and reflect, They had to function. They never got a chance to work on their problems. My mother, she had such a negative self-talk. When she made a mistake, she would talk to herself loudly. You're such a stupid idiot. How could you do that? It was terrible. And I heard her do that during my childhood. even when I was an adult. But then I said to her, maybe you could just talk a little bit nicer to you. Because yes, you made a mistake, but so what? We all make mistakes, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was her system.
Yeah.
And if I had never become aware of it, I would still be doing the same thing because I did it to myself as well. How could I not?
Right. Right. Wow. It's amazing how our minds take in information and process that information. And, you know, and so in my language, it's programming, it's the paradigms.
Yes.
And that's exactly what you're talking about too.
Yes. Yes. In psychology, we call it conditioning. And it's really like the more you think a thought, the more your brain creates physical neural connections.
Right.
That is so important to know, because when you start understanding things differently, your brain starts to change. But you cannot force it. You cannot, like, if I say it has to be hard, and then I start doing an affirmation, life is easy. Everything comes to me easily. Life is I can say that the whole day, but if I haven't conquered that belief, if I haven't cleared the origin, then there's always this little voice in my head saying, it's stupid what you're saying. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. Oh, forget it. It's not true. You know, this is why only affirmations don't work.
Is that why tapping does? Because tapping actually breaks down the neural relationships in your head?
Yes, and with tapping, you acknowledge the problem first.
Right, that's true. Okay.
That's so important. And that's why some people think tapping is not a good idea, because they say, but you're voicing the negative, and saying the negative will attract the negative by the law of attraction. But it's not true. Acknowledging whatever happened to me brings me into a state of calm, that I can see clearly what was going on, and I can cut the connection to it. I can cut its power over me. That is so important.
Yeah.
And I remember not a long time ago, I was interviewed by somebody else, and we were actually talking about body positivity. And I was saying that the way you are in your body and you are connected and related to your body has an influence on everything in your life, your work, your friendships, the money that you make. And we went on talking like this. And then she suddenly said, oh my God, now I understand this financial blockage I've had always. And she started to tell the story that when she's 70 plus now, when she was a young woman and she was working in middle management and making good money, she visited her parents, and her mother asked her how much money she was making. And she told her the truth, thinking that her parents would be proud of her. Instead, when her mother heard the amount of money she was making, she went like, your father and I never had that much money.
Oh, no.
So that was a sign that she broke a family rule. You're not allowed to be more successful than your parents, without her saying. And that created a micro trauma in her, which created her to have limits in her income streams. And she only understood that like 50 years later when we were talking about it.
Wow.
So it just, we can't stand the pain. How could the parents not be happy and joyful and say, wow, this is fantastic. I'm so happy for you. They couldn't, because it was painful for them.
Right. Their own ego wouldn't allow it.
Right. And you see how this creates like chains of beliefs that go from generation to generation.
Absolutely.
And with tapping and the other processes, we can stop that.
So are we, just to reiterate, we are breaking our generational belief systems
as well.
When we do. And I've also heard tapping, so I know it's EFT, it's tapping. I've also heard of it referred to as energy medicine.
Well, energy medicine is a bigger
umbrella.
Yeah, bigger umbrella for many things. It's also called energy psychology sometimes. There's
Okay.
many terms for it.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Is there anything else? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay.
Okay, I was just going to say, is there anything else that you want us to know about this before you go ahead into the modality and try a little bit on me?
I don't know if you have any questions. Otherwise, you can still ask me later if you want to. So we
sure.
can
No,
just.
there'll definitely be some questions afterwards. But is there anything else that our listeners need to be aware of before we go into the actual process?
Okay, if you want to tap along, I'll just show you the points once. You don't have to remember them. You just have to do what I do and repeat what I repeat, just like you will do, right?
Sounds good. Okay.
We have a point at the side of the hand that's often called a karate chop. You can tap with 2 fingers here, and it's just at the end of your pinky. There is a heart point, actually. That's active there. As an acupuncturist, this is interesting for me to tell people. You're really like working on your heart when you're tapping on this point. And then we have, so this is something we just use in the beginning most of the time. And then we have points between the eyebrows. So some people say it's at the beginning of the eyebrow, but between the eyebrows, there is another point, very important one. It's not from classical EFT. So I'm not doing exactly what the EFT does.
Okay.
I've a little bit changed it. So actually I take 2 fingers, or if your face is big, you can take even 3, and just go on that line between the beginning of your eyebrows and tap there. Then you have one at the side of the eye. You have one beneath the eye. There is a bone here, and when you touch that bone, there is like a little, not hole, but a deeper point, and that's where the point is. Then you have below the nose, below the mouth. Then you have on the collarbone, and here are 2 again. There is this bigger bone here, just below, a little bit below, there is 1 point, and a bit more outside, there is another one. So what I do is I take my 4 fingers and I go like this, so that more or less I hit both.
Okay.
And that's important because one is for fear and one is for sadness.
Oh, okay.
And then you have on your, what's the name of this?
Sternum.
On your sternum, right. On your sternum, you have like 3 points, one below the next. And again, you just take your 4 fingers like this, and you just have the vertical line here that you can tap on. And then the next one is on the highest point of your head. I don't use that one because it's so, I do use it sometimes, but when I do this, it is so often so uncomfortable for people, and I don't really find it. And it's the more powerful one is on the head.
Okay.
So that's the points that we use.
Okay.
So let me think about a nice process.
So I have a quick question about the points. When I tap, I can feel almost like a quick electric buzz. Does everybody feel like that if they're on the right point, or do some people not get that?
No, not everybody feels that.
Okay.
And honestly, if you more or less follow what I just showed, you cannot go wrong, because in acupuncture, we have a needle with 0.3 millimeters of diameter. We really have to find the point, right? But with your fingers, the system is so tolerant, you cannot do it wrong. Okay. As long as more or less you're tapping in the right place. Okay, I just like to explain it in the beginning a bit more.
Yes, no, I appreciate that. Thank you.
So let me think about something for you. We have. What would you think about? Shall we do something about money?
Yes, I would appreciate that.
Okay. I will ask you some questions. I don't want you to tell me the numbers, but I need to bring you to a point where, and you can write them down for you, and everybody who is listening, just write the numbers down for you.
Okay.
And we will rate a little bit the feelings, always between 0 and 10. 0 is it's not a problem, or it's, it's not a problem, it's not stressful, and 10 is it's stressful.
Okay.
And sometimes I will ask you, how true is that for you? And 0 is not true at all, and 10 is totally true.
Okay.
And you will always find your point in between where you are. It can be a 3, a 5, a 6, an 8. And don't think about it. Your system, when you ask yourself, or when I ask you, what is the number you have right now between 0 and 10, it'll pop right away in your head, and that's the right one. Don't try to think about it.
Okay.
Right? Your system is answering you without you doing any efforts. This is effortless.
Love that.
Yeah, it really is. So let me think for a moment. Just to warm up, when you think about money, just thinking about money, your financial situation, where would you rate your stress level from 0 to 10?
7.
So you're a quite stressful money situation. Okay, good. Now, I want you to choose a number, and you don't have to tell me, of how much money you want to make per month, so that you feel a financial freedom. And financial freedom is not being insanely wealthy. It's being able to do what you do with a certain level of ease.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So you choose a number of how much you want to make.
Okay.
Per month.
Yeah.
Good. Look at that number. And now you've written it down, right?
Yep.
So now cross it out and write the double. And check your feelings.
I love that. That got me excited when you said that.
So that's the number you're going to make.
Okay.
Okay? No stress around it?
Nope. Nope.
No bad feelings? No.
Really not. Nope. Nope.
Okay.
I am excited. Yep.
Double it again.
Ooh.
Cross it out, double it again.
Okay, now I just got nervous.
You got nervous, right?
Yep.
So when now say the sentence, this is impossible.
This is impossible.
How true does that feel from 0 to 10?
I'd say a 5. This is one area that I've done a lot of work on, but it's definitely in a knowing, not a feeling place yet.
Yeah, but when you try to feel it, it's most probably your stress is going up here. Okay.
It makes me nervous. Like,
yes,
there's definitely the ideas of, oh yeah, right. How am I going to do that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But we're very much in the mind right now. So now I would love you to close your eyes.
Okay.
Put your feet on the floor.
Okay, I got shift here.
Yeah, it's always important. Put the feet on the floor. Take a deep breath. And feel the chair that's supporting you. Know that you're in a really safe environment right now to do this with me. And then behind your eyes, let appear a movie screen. And on that movie screen, you see a movie about you. You see yourself on that screen. And you see yourself standing on a stage in front of an audience where all the people who are important in your life are there. like your parents, even if they've passed, for this moment, they are here. Your parents, your siblings, your partner, your children, your colleagues, your boss or former bosses, maybe your teachers or school friends, all the people that were important in your life, they are there in the audience. And you're standing up there on that stage and you're holding up a sign. And on that sign, you have this huge number that you just wrote down. This one that we doubled and redoubled. That one that you have decided you make per month. And that's what you say now. You're holding up that sign and you're saying out loud, I'm making this amount of money. And in your mind, you say the amount. Like, I'm making 50K per month and I totally deserve it. I'm so amazing in the work I do. I totally deserve to have this much money and more. And you observe, how is this version of you feeling on that stage? Can you reflect back to me? Leave your eyes closed. Don't lose the image.
Okay, sure.
Just how is she feeling when she's saying that in front of all those people?
There's like a timid or a bashful feeling, like, you know, and it's so funny because I can see certain people in the audience.
Yeah, don't go to the audience. Just stay with her.
Okay.
We're going there later.
Okay.
How is she feeling? How is she feeling?
She is happy. She is really excited. But with the particular people in the audience, she is holding back, and there's some shame.
There's some shame. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's shame coming up. Any other feeling? Is there fear too? Often fear goes with shame.
It doesn't feel like fear.
Okay.
And I know what you're saying, but it doesn't feel like fear. It feels more like, well, okay, so fear of being judged.
Fear of being judged.
Yeah.
Yes. So how intense would you rate the feelings of shame from 0 to 10?
It's not too intense. It's like a 3.
Okay.
It's not
and the fear
intense.
of being judged?
Is a 5.
Okay. Good. Now turn into the audience and look. Tell me a bit of who you see and how they are reacting.
So there are some people who are very, very much still present in my life, and I want to be careful about pointing fingers at anyone, because there are certain people who don't understand this work that we're doing.
Oh, you don't have to name them. You don't have to name them.
Okay. All right.
Just tell me, what are they doing? How are they looking at you?
One of them is there's anger and a sense of, you can't do that. You're not allowed.
Yes.
There's another one who's just disbelief and some disgust because money is not a good thing in their world.
Money is bad.
Money is bad. Money in a very religious sense. Money it turns people into bad people.
Yes.
So those are the 2 most prominent that are looking at me. And then there's someone else who has some jealousy, some fear of me doing that makes them look bad.
You doing that makes them look bad. Yes. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So what do you feel when you like hear that, imagine they are telling you that, because you know, you know, like they're shouting it to you. Who do you think you are? How dare you? This is disgusting. You will become a bad person.
Yeah.
How is that version of you on that stage they're feeling?
Like I want to plead with them. Feeling like, well, feeling words are hard for me, I'll be honest. But I want to show them that it's not true, that, you know, me making more money is actually going to be a good thing for everyone.
Yes. So what's the feeling when you think that?
There's definitely a feeling of disappointment. I don't know what the feeling word would be, but like, okay, maybe this isn't worth it.
This isn't worth it. What isn't worth it? Having the trouble with those people?
No, the going forward the way that I have been, going forward with my own business, going forward with coaching and helping and serving, because of how I'm hurting other people in my life, because they're having a hard time with me doing this.
So kind of, I better not do what I love to do because with this I'm hurting other people.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Here we are in the center.
Yeah, that would be sadness.
Yes.
I mean, now I can even feel tears are welling up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just taking a note here. If you want to, you can come back and take a deep breath. Come back with me in this room.
Okay.
So, wow. Now, just for your understanding, all those things that you saw are not the other people telling you. It's all you,
right,
who is telling you yourself this. So, of course, if I imagine being in that situation and having so many things like, you shouldn't do this, who do you think you are, la, 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 of course you can't move forward.
Right.
So, and this is where we do some tapping. You want to do some tapping?
Yes, please. Let's get that. Okay, so I should just pause here and tell you that absolutely revealed things to me that I didn't realize was there.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is one of the processes I use in my gift of clarity process. And it's, that's what it's for, that we understand what we don't know.
Yeah, let's get this off of me. I don't like it.
So let's see. So even though I have all these negative beliefs around money,
so even though I have all of these negative beliefs around money,
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
And for those who cannot say this, because I couldn't, you can also say, I deeply and completely love and accept myself as good as I can.
I deeply and completely love myself as good as I can.
So even though I have all these negative beliefs around money,
even though I have all of these negative beliefs around money,
and it makes me so sad,
and it makes me so sad,
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
Even though there are all these bad feelings about money in me.
Even though there are all of these bad feelings about money in me,
I choose to love myself anyways.
I choose to love myself anyways.
So now we go through the points. Money is really bad.
Money is really bad.
It brings so much problems in my life.
It brings so many problems in my life.
It's terrible. I don't want to deal with money.
It's terrible. I don't want to deal with money.
Because if I'm successful
Because if I am successful
and I earn more money than I have right now,
and I earn more money than I have right now,
I will hurt other people.
I will hurt other people.
And I don't want to hurt anyone.
And I don't want to hurt anyone.
I don't want to hurt the people I love.
I don't want to hurt people that I love.
But how can I move forward?
But how can I move forward?
I can't make more money.
I can't make more money.
It's too much problem.
It's too much of a problem.
And maybe if I make more money, it'll make me a bad person.
And maybe if I make more money, it will make me a bad person.
Someone who is disgusting.
Someone who is disgusting.
Someone who is greedy.
Someone who is greedy.
And I mean, honestly, who would want to work with me?
And I mean, honestly, who would want to work with me?
I'm not a good coach.
I'm not a good coach.
I haven't solved my problems.
I haven't solved my problems.
So how could I help others really?
So how can I really help others?
I can't make more money.
I can't make more money.
And I'm not allowed to make more money.
And I'm not allowed to make more money.
Because the people around me will be hurt.
Because the people around me will be hurt.
And they will not love me anymore.
And they will not love me anymore.
They will be angry at me.
They will be angry at me.
They will be disappointed with me.
They will be disappointed with me.
They will be so jealous.
They will be so jealous.
And I don't want this.
And I don't want this.
I really don't want this.
I really don't want this.
So my whole system says I can't make more money.
So my whole system says I can't make more money.
But on the other hand, I want to help people.
But on the other hand, I want to help people.
And I want to do what I love to do.
And I want to do what I love to do.
So I choose to open to the possibility.
So I choose to open to the possibility
that I can live my purpose.
That I can live my purpose.
And make more money.
And make more money.
And show people.
And show people.
That money is not the problem.
That money is not the problem.
That money is not bad.
That money is not bad.
It's just a tool.
It's just a tool.
And like any tool.
And like any tool.
Depends on how you use it.
Depends on how you use it.
So I choose to open to this idea that I can have both.
So I choose to open to the idea that I can have both.
A successful coaching business.
A successful coaching business.
More money.
More money.
And harmonious relationships with the people I love.
And harmonious relationships with the people I love.
Wow, that feels good.
Wow, that feels good.
I feel like a heavy weight getting off my shoulders.
I feel like a heavy weight is off my shoulders.
Yes, I really can open to working on this.
Yes, I really can open to working on this.
Take a deep breath. And look at that number.
Yeah.
And tell me how you feel.
Like it could be easy.
Yes. From 0 to 10, how is your stress level around that?
2.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very, very good. And if we were working one-on-one, we would go deeper here to see what else does it need. And so this was just to make you see the blockages, and to just calm down again all the feelings and the beliefs that came up for you.
Yeah, I mean, everybody who's watching can see that it worked, right? I mean, I did not know that those thoughts were holding me back. I didn't know that those were the thoughts that were holding me back. And I absolutely feel, I mean, anybody who can read energy can see the shift in my energy right now, right? How much lighter it is, how much better I feel about it. I'm like, okay, now I just need to go. I got to go do things.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Was one session. That was one session.
That was not even a complete session.
Okay.
That was just a part of a session.
Okay. All right. So why don't you tell us, I know that you have a course around this, is that right?
Yes, I have a course, I call it the Money Breakthrough Accelerator, and it's starting soon. It's starting on the 6th of October. Let me just check.
Okay.
Yes, it's starting on the 6th of October. We're having 8 modules in 6.5 weeks. And for those who would be interested in knowing more, I'm having a masterclass on the 1st of October, where we will meet for like 60 to 90 minutes. Depends on the group and on how who's coming, what's their knowledge, you know.
Okay.
I always love to go with the group that's there.
Sure.
And I will share a bit more about all of this. And we're going to do another process, not exactly the one we just did right now, but another one for people to feel more what this course can do for them.
Okay.
And it's not just about money, but about different kinds of money, because actually your relationship with income can be different than your relationship with savings or debt or toxic money, you know?
Okay.
So we're going to look at these different kinds of money. We're going to work on making purpose-aligned goals and develop a vision and all these things. So it's tapping, it's clearing, and it's building something new, something that brings you, like you say, I just got to go. Yeah, of course, but where actually are you going to go? Sure. You know what I mean? So it's worth looking deeper into that as well.
Okay. So if somebody, you know, they're watching this, they are completely on board, ready to go, how do they find out about this masterclass and how to start with you?
So it'll be on my Facebook page and it'll be on my website, that's for sure. So you can find it there. And if you have any problems in finding it, just message me on Facebook, for instance, or go to my website, go to the contact form if you really can't find it, and just send me a message and I'll help you out. Okay.
All right. And all of your contact information that we have is on our website, uplevelworldsummit.com, and look for Gaia for her picture. And when you click on that, it'll open up the description of this workshop, and it'll also have all of her contact information there. And so that way people can find you. Yes. And I just wanted to say something more because there is a picture behind me. Yes, I was going to ask you about that. Can you tell us? Yes, this is, you know, I'm fascinated by the brain and how it works. And this is something we call neurographica. It's a way of, by drawing in a certain way, connect or recreate new neural connections in your brain. It's a coaching process. It's a coaching tool. So it's not just like intuitive drawing or something like that. It's a 7-step process. And we're going to use that in the course as well. So, and that's fun and artistic, and you don't have to be able to draw, just lines and circles and play with colors. So bring your inner child. It'll have fun as well. And yeah, that's part of the course as well. Oh, that's fantastic. And I have taken one of Gaia's neurographic drawing classes, and it was phenomenal. It was fun, you know, and that sometimes this work can feel like work and it can feel like process. And this particular style, this modality that she shares with us, it's fun, it's uplifting, it's free. It just felt like I just needed, I followed her instructions and just allowed my hands to be guided by my spirit. And, it was such a beautiful process. So, just a little plug there for you for that.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to share with our amazing Uplevel World Summit audience right now?
Not that I can think of. Just looking. No.
Okay.
No, if you have no more questions, I'm good.
Yeah, no, I think that you gave them so much information, and a really great place to start. You know what? I do have one more question. Let's say someone does have all of these blocks, but they don't feel ready yet for a masterclass or a course. Is there maybe one tangible step that someone in that position could walk away with, that they could go do, they could go implement in the next week or so, that would show them some difference?
Yes, that would be to tap on that.
Okay.
Like, go through the points just as we did, and just say, like, I'm not ready for this.
Okay.
I really feel not ready to take any course or masterclass. I'm not ready to put myself out there. I'm not ready to talk about my problems yet. I just don't feel ready for this.
Yeah.
It's scary. I don't know what, but it's scary, I don't feel ready for this. Go like 7 rounds through all the points and see if you still are not ready for this.
Okay. All right. And remember, audience, if you want to have a copy of this, or the ability to go back and listen to this afterwards, remember that we've got it on sale for $67. Is the entire weekend summit, the entire 3 days for $67 until midnight on Sunday. After that, the price does go up. And so if you feel like you need Gaia's guidance in doing a tapping session for yourself, then go ahead and sign up for that VIP option. We would love to have you. You would have not only Gaia's, but you would have all of the amazing experts that we've brought together for Uplevel World Summit. So Gaia, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can already feel a shift, and just everything that you've done. I mean, everything you've brought to the world, everything you've shared about yourself and from yourself, of yourself. We are all so blessed that you have decided to show up as you, authentically you, and share your gifts with the world. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Courtney. It was such a pleasure being here. And yeah, what can I say? It really touches my heart. And I hope what we talked about today will shift something for as many people as possible. And if anybody here wants to directly share with me if that did something to you, I always love to receive messages, and I'm very much accessible. So just feel free to contact me with whatever questions you may have, or remarks or feedback. I just love to have that and to read that.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Gaia and we talk via Messenger. That's where we find each other.
Yes.
Every time. So she is, as she said, she is accessible, she is easy to get hold of, and she is responsive. So yeah, that would be wonderful. If you get any feedback at all, feel free to share it with us. We would love to hear it.
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Thank you.